Hi guys, and welcome back to another ride on the S18. And today, as promised, I'm going to carry on with the 5 things I do not like about the S18. Now, there's a few things that's going to overlap, and it might be important to certain people. For me, I just want to mention it. For some people, it will bug them, and for other people like me, it doesn't. So, let's get started. I'm just gonna cruise next to the canal, just a nice relaxing ride. Hope it's not too windy and noisy. So let's get started with number 1. So the first batches, the suspension was not very smooth. So running up and down on the basically the rods for the suspension to the sliders, the alignment was not 100%, and mine suffered from it. But loosening my foot plates that can adjust up and down, with just loosening them, readjusting them, reseating them, that took that away. But as far as I understand from the new batch or the latest batches, even Adam on Wrongway was saying that his suspension is so much smoother, and that is a massive plus point. So it's not so much of a problem now, but that was a problem in the beginning for me. Not a massive problem, but I would have liked it to be super smooth. Okay, so number 2, and again, this is for me not such a big problem because mine haven't had any real massive problems, but a lot of people complained in the beginning that the build quality of the S18 is not that great, meaning that the panels weren't screwed together, the bolts and screws that they were using were not of high quality, was made of very soft metal. So if you loosen, for instance, your foot plates, it would, and if you have to take the wheel apart or put it back together again a few times, because the screws are very soft, you might strip the heads, and that's sort of a pain. I've actually my foot plate adjustment bolts, I've actually changed them to stainless steel with a hex bolt, and they've been really awesome. Number 3 is going to be, for me, is the front light. The front light is good, it works well, it's got the light sensor on the top, but I would have liked to have a little bit more higher beams. Also, maybe almost like the Sherman, where you can adjust it a little bit. And that rolls nicely into number 4, and that's the weatherproofing. Now, my wheel is one of the first batches, and got a lock on here now. I really want you to make sure you sort out this gate. Don't leave it open. So number 4 for me is the weatherproofing. I would like Kingsong to, for the next wheels, just think about the other people, especially in the UK, where it's really moist and rainy, even in Europe as well. You know, in the winter, it's not that great. To just think about mud guards, and also sealing, making sure that the like the controller board is nicely sealed away and protected from moisture or rain or stuff like that. Now, design something where if it rains, the rain can run from the top and from the front, because that's what's going to hit the wheel first, and then run down the wheel rather than in a little hole. Because when it does run into the wheel, like the trolley handle, next to the trolley handle, if the board is on the side, it drips onto the board and it can cause trouble. You don't really want water on electronics. Doesn't matter how much they spray the stuff with weatherproofing and stuff, it's not ideal. Water and electrics doesn't always mix that well. So yeah, weatherproofing, man, all round. If they can sort that out, that will be awesome. So number 5 for me is I would have liked the guys to be able to give us an option to fit a knobby tire, and also to look at making the wheel much easier to work on. When Ian and them gave me some feedback, because I had some water damage on the main board, they were saying that they almost had to strip the whole wheel to get to the motherboard or the main board to actually replace that main board. Now, if I or anyone else getting into this hobby needs to open this wheel, it's going to be a nightmare. You know, a lot of people like tinkering with the wheels, and then a lot of people, when they spend money, especially this large amounts of money, they want to be able to have the option to change a tire or fix a tire or replace some minor parts. And sometimes this can be, what do you call it, just a daunting task. Now, again, for myself, I actually enjoy taking the wheels apart. Not too often, that's one thing, not too often. But yeah, I really don't mind taking the wheel apart and working on it. But if they can think about making the wheels a little bit easier to also work on, that will be awesome. No, that's now 5 complaints, but man, it's such small complaints that it's not a deal breaker for myself. I just want to highlight it to other people. And again, the new batches of wheels coming out, most of these small little niggly stuff has all been sorted out. The wheels are so much better put together. The weather sealing is better. The shock system works much better. There was problems in the beginning where the just take this thing off. There were some problems in the beginning where the shocks washers on the side were not fitted properly. It's like, come on, man. So this has all been sorted out. So the suspension works better. The wheel is put together much better. And then yeah, you really have such a great wheel. This is again going over to the positive sides again. It's very difficult for me to say negative things about the wheel. You know, this is for what I use it for. I don't go 35 miles an hour because, or I don't need to go 35 miles an hour on the trails that I ride. So the top speed on this is about 31 miles an hour. I try and keep to about max 28. Most of the time is on tarmac or on the trails like you see behind me next to the canal, or in the forest, mountain bike trails and whatever. The other 2 things, you know, is the torque. A lot of people want more torque out of the wheel, but the battery can't always handle it, especially on lower power of the lower power battery state. People want more torque, more output, more higher speed and whatever. Again, for me, this has not been a problem at all. You know, it's been such a joy to ride this wheel. Really, really nice. But yeah, another thing, I was watching Duff's video, I think his latest video last night, where he was giving all the different wheels to, I think it's one of the guys that live close to him. And it was very interesting to see how he rated the wheels, coming from a very different wheel. I think he was on a 14D, and he's been, you know, he did about 800 miles on this 14D. He's never ridden any other wheel. So Duff basically gave him all the wheels, the V11, the S18, the Sherman, the One Wheel XR, the Pint, the S18, even the M103. that he had a go on all of them, and just go and check out that video and see what he thinks is the best wheels. And that's coming from not a new rider, but a rider that hasn't experienced any of the other wheels. And it's just usually a good example, because sometimes, or most of the times, most of the new riders don't get the option to really test drive the wheels. They have to put their money down and hope that the wheel is good for what they want to use it for. I've had quite a few guys giving some feedback about they buying their first wheel as a Sherman, and then they basically have to sell it 2 or 3 weeks later because the wheel is just too heavy for them, because they were expecting it to be much easier to actually pick up and get going. Sometimes it is, and sometimes you just need to stick out and keep on practicing more and more and more. Don't practice for one day for the whole day. Rather break it up into half an hour stints or hour stints, depends on your fitness, just to sort of get more used to the wheel. That's the thing that takes the longest, is getting used to the wheel. But guys, that's enough waffle from me. That's the 5 things, little tiny things, I don't like about this wheel. It doesn't bug me at all, and I still love this wheel. It's awesome. Even with the water damage on the main board, luckily it was bought from Speedy Feet. It's under warranty. They replaced it, no problems, and I've not had any issues with the new board. The new board does make a sound. I don't know if you can hear that. It's like a grrr, grrr. So when you change from forward to backwards, it makes this like a, it's almost like the M103 as well. If you put pressure on it when going backwards and forward, that crunching sound, that's the thing that it does on the new board, on mine at least. But the ride characteristics is still perfect. Okay guys, enough of the waffle. I hope you enjoyed this video. If there's anything you want to know about the S18, please drop it in the comments below, and I will try and answer it and get back to you. But thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you on the next video. Cheers!